going to read this back out to you, just specifically the quote, so that we can get your response. It relates to what Peter Kyle was saying as it relates to reforms policy towards the online safety bill. This is what he said. He said, "I see that Nigel Farage is already saying that he's going to overturn these laws with people out there who are extreme pornographers, peddling hate, peddling violence. Nigel Farage is on their side. Make no mistake about it, if people like Jimmy Savile were alive today, he'd be perpetrating his crimes online, and Nigel Farage is saying he's on their side." What is your response to that?
Similar to yours when you heard him say that outrageous statement. I mean, look, I'm 38 years old. That's one of the most outrageous and disgusting things a politician has said in the political arena that I can remember. And that's quite a high bar, frankly. Look, what it also shows is Labour, have no idea how the internet actually works, which is why they are unwilling to admit this act, despite its name, is actually going to make children less safe. I'll come on to why in a moment. But it also shows how deeply unserious they are about child safety. Levelling that allegation, talking about Jimmy Savile in that way, does nothing other than denigrate the victims of Jimmy Savile. This is a political party that is collapsing in the polls at historic speed, a prime minister whose approval is collapsing at historic speed. All they have left is trying to censor British people and insult their political opponents in the most disgusting way.
We've actually just had a further response from Peter Kyle to a tweet that Nigel Farage put out earlier. Nigel Farage said, "Peter Kyle's comments on Sky News are disgusting. He should do the right thing and apologise." Peter Kyle has just said, "If you want to overturn the Online Safety Act, you're on the side of predators. It's as simple as that." Your response, Zia?
What tyrants always do, they cloak tyranny in the warm fuzz of safety and hope nobody reads the fine print. Unfortunately, Nigel Farage and Reform, we have read the fine print. Firstly, I want to address the point about child safety. This does nothing to improve child safety. It is taking children, and if you're a parent watching this, it's really important you understand this. Do not be lulled into the false sense of security that the government are trying to push you into. What is happening is children are downloading these things called VPNs. And what those VPNs do, and the evidence of that is if you've got an Apple iPhone, go onto the App Store right now, you will see 4 of the top 5 most downloaded apps in the United Kingdom are these VPNs. NordVPN have said they've seen an 1,800% spike in downloads. Proton's exactly the same, a 10-fold increase in the number of Google searches for VPNs. What does this piece of software do? A VPN allows a child to trick the website they're visiting into thinking it's in a different country to the one that they are in. And one of the main reasons people download VPNs is actually to go and access the dark web. And whatever horrors you think your child is already looking at, I promise you as a parent, once they go into that rabbit hole, it is your worst nightmare as a parent. And if you have, for example, BT or Sky, one of the child safety locks that you have, if you're a parent, those VPNs defeat, because it basically hides the metadata, so it defeats all your existing child safety locks. The person in question who's using these slurs, I just want to make this point, has never worked in tech. From what I can tell, he's never even worked in the private sector. And this is the problem. You have MPs and politicians who are, frankly, dinosaurs, do not understand the world that they're trying to legislate. And the kids whom they are trying to protect are running rings around them.
I mean, look, the point on VPNs, we discussed that specifically in the interview this morning, and people can go back to look at that if they want. But just as to try and suggest someone that opposes this law is on the side of Jimmy Savile feels like a leap. For you to say that someone wants to bring in this bill and you think it's imperfect, some may agree, some may not, is a tyrant, is also seems like a leap. I mean, it is reasonable, is it not, to attempt to make children safer online?
Well, then you'd have to explain to me what Section 44 of the Act does to make children safe, which is give a single person, a Secretary of State, the ability to unilaterally order Ofcom to rewrite the rules to determine what people watching this programme can see on the internet. Explain to me how that protects children. Or Section 179, which brings a new threshold, forcing social media companies to censor speech, which, and I quote, causes non-trivial psychological harm and threatens them with imprisonment if they fail. Explain to me how that protects children. And we're already seeing the effects of this in the 2 days since the cut-off date when this act has come into force. We're seeing footage of protests against illegal migrant hotels in Leeds throttled and censored. We're seeing anti-government tweets, perfectly sensible tweets that criticize Labour being throttled and censored on Labour. So no, I use that phrase advisedly, but I want to go back to that the original reason why you called me on here. To use that allegation against Nigel is one of the most appalling and disgusting things I've seen in the political arena in my lifetime, and I think it's upon him to apologise.
Obviously, he hasn't done.